What's up, Atlanta Fringe? I'm Eli. We're here at Do You Validate Studio, and I'm talking to Lauren Overstreet today from the Atlanta Contemporary Dance Company, talking about their show, This Silly Little Game.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about your show? Like, what's the audience in for when they sit down?
So our show combines classical dance technique with a more like acting performance quality to create kind of an immersive experience where like we're telling a story through dance and kind of trying to take you on a journey with us.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so incorporating that theater element makes this a little bit different than your typical dance show?
I like to think that what we do is a little bit unique in terms of what you typically see in the dance community.
Yeah.
We don't just do like 3-minute pieces, blackout, next 3-minute piece, blackout. Like each thing flows into the next to tell a story, and you kind of go through this like emotional journey with us, and there's ups and downs, and we kind of try and mesh everything together to kind of make you feel like you're really a part of it.
Now, the dance background, you said it's more of a classical dance style?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have a cast for this performance of 9 classically trained, very technical dancers.
Wow.
They train ballet, tap, jazz, all of that stuff. So I'm very fortunate to be able to have them do this performance because they are just incredibly talented. For this performance, we have a bunch of local dancers.
Oh,
They
wonderful.
are... Most of them are in college pursuing dance degrees. So we have some at Kennesaw State pursuing dance, some at UGA. I've got a couple dancers that are actually pursuing engineering degrees at Georgia Tech.
Oh, wow.
So we're all over the map, but the one thing that we do have in common is our dance background.
What's something you've learned as you've been putting this show together?
This is actually a restructure of a show that we performed a few months ago back in March at 7 Stages.
Oh, cool.
So I would consider this a condensed performance of our original show. What I've learned is scheduling when you have a cast of 9 people is kind of crazy. I've learned that creative roadblocks are real and creative burnout does exist.
Sure.
And I've had to really let go of the control of being the director and having my hand in everything and really rely on my cast to kind of help me along to kind of put ideas back and forth to see what fits. And I think once the whole thing was created, that it actually made it even better than it would have been had I just solely been the person kind of creating an hour work.
Yeah.
So that was my biggest learning curve, is kind of learning to let go, trust my artists, because they are artists in their own right, that can actually create a show that's even better than what I could have imagined when I initially started.
That's great. So what we're getting is this ultimately very collaborative process is the final show.
Absolutely. I know that it would not be the show that it is if I didn't have the cast members that I have.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Basically, we only have an hour for Fringe Festival, which is new to me.
Yeah.
So I had to take what we had done before, which was almost a 2-hour show, and kind of condense it into what I feel still kept it cohesive, but maybe on a faster track to get through the show.
Yeah. Have you found ways in which that strengthened the show at all?
I do think that I had to cut a lot of like filler out, which has become challenging for my cast. Dance is very exertive and strenuous on the body, and I've had to take out a lot of the breaks that I put in there for them originally. So a lot of them are doing like back to back to back to back, 20 minutes nonstop. So maybe, it's impressive.
Yeah.
If anything else, like I watch it and I'm like, I don't know how you guys are doing it, but it's very impressive.
Amazing. So we've talked about the dance element, and I'm sure there's visually just very stunning and striking and impressive feats being done the whole time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the theatrical element and the story that's going through.
Sure. So I created this show out of my own personal experience of what I would like to deem like not just corporate burnout, but like a lot of personal burnout that kind of comes from like spending the majority of my life in a corporate environment.
Yeah.
I found having to put on this persona of who I needed to be in that setting every day, like extremely exhausting, and kind of made me lose a sense of who I was as a person. And so in getting out of that world and starting to come back to the art industry, I created a show called This Silly Little Game, because that's exactly what it felt like when I removed myself from it.
Yeah.
Was, wow, like I have spent so much energy and effort and majority of my life kind of like not being able to be quirky or weird or artistic and having to like put on this facade, and to be able to strip that and really like learn to appreciate yourself for who you are is kind of what I created this show about.
So not just for dancers. This show is going to be relatable for many people.
My hope in creating like full-length works that are not just, showing off pieces here and there, but a full cohesive show is to be able to make it more accessible and relatable to the general audience, because I feel like dance is kind of like this niche group that doesn't really branch out very much.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to get like a broader audience because dance just kind of has this like, there's almost like a connotation of it being kind of rigid and it's not for everyone, or it's like it's hard to interpret. And so I wanted to create something a little bit more what I would deem commercial, that you could, have someone come off the street, walk into the show, and like feel like they related to what you were trying to say through movement. So we'll see.
That's so cool, though. I know that's one of the challenges with dance is that it can come off as a very specific language to non-dancers. And some of my favorite dance shows I've seen have been able to break that down. And so, as a non-dancer, I'm still really into the story that's being told. It sounds like that's what you guys are working on here.
So, yeah, and we've tried various elements and different ways to do that. Like, our show is not just all, like, somber or very, like, lyrical ballet stuff. Like, we add some jazz and, like, some, like, stronger moments. We add comedy.
Yeah.
Like, we make fun of ourselves sometimes. And so I think that that's part of it. Was challenging for me to do that and like keep it dynamic in a full-length production, but I really do think that from an audience perspective it is more relatable and enjoyable. So
awesome.
Hopefully.
Well, Lauren, can you tell Atlanta Fringers where and when they can see your show?
So you can see us June 6th at, I believe it is 7 p.m., June 8th at 5:30 p.m., and June 9th at 2:30 p.m., all at 7 Stages main stage.
Awesome. Well, Lauren Overstreet with the show, This Silly Little Game. Do come out this weekend and check them out. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.